Hi, my name is Felicia and I'm here today with Mario Brückner, the author of Living Transformations. He's also a podcast host and a keynote speaker on the subjects of digital transformation, future trends, and agile leadership. Hello, Mario.
Hi.
You're here today to talk about your book. Can you please describe your book in 3 sentences?
Yes. So Living Transformation is about approach, how you can do an agile transformation by involving all your employees and having real impact on your business. That's it.
That's amazing. That sounds good to include everybody. What motivated you to write the book? Was there a key moment or something like that?
Writing the book, it was last year, But the preparation of the approach or the approach finalization took 3 to 5 years. So we did it for different companies. And actually last year we did it for big automotive. And there the customer said, why you can write a book about it? It would be so nice to just read it and in addition to experience it. And that was the reason. So the key moment was a customer telling me, do you want to write a book? Could be interesting.
Oh, great. So there was really the pain from the customer's side that they wanted something in their hands like that they could also look into again and refer to.
That is also the reason why we have both ebooks and hard copies, because some people still want to have something in their hand, and I love books also, so why don't make it in both formats?
Oh, that's a good idea. Who is exactly your target audience, and who do you want to reach with the book? Is it like only your customers, or because you said you wrote it because your customer was asking you to write it, but who is really the key audience?
For me, it's not about the key audience of the book, it's more the key audience for the approach itself. So people who experience some kind of transformation and perhaps was not so successful with it, these would be the target audience. So if you want to take real persons, I would say game changer or system changer. Mm-hmm. So people who are interested in changing things, changing organization in a way that a transformation really can have success. Mm-hmm. And this means you change processes, you change organization and the way you do transformation. Mm-hmm. And so could be HR, so these kind of people, or could be coaches, could be Scrum Master, Agile coaches, name it, or people who are just interested in the topic of change and changing organization.
It could be including like everybody, also like a regular employee or even management if they are interested in doing that, right? So.
And it's short enough, so even management can read the 70 pages or 100 pages, it's fine. Last person who wrote to me, who was quite a surprise, was my worker council. He bought the book and he gave me a feedback over LinkedIn and that he liked it, and also the approach, agile approach of involving people in decision making. He really wanted to try it in his company.
Okay, interesting. That's great. So tell us a little bit about your career. Like, did you start with agile project management right away in transformations, or how did you start?
Born agile. No, just kidding. So originally I studied economics. So and started a usual career as a consultant. So I started with KPMG, Bearing Point, then spent some years in Switzerland, in US. And my first touch point with agility was 2010, I think. Yes, it was Switzerland and Munich. And there we tested the first delivery methods, changing with Scrum, Kanban. If you make the definition of agility a little bit wider, I would have first impact on 2004 with innovation methods. But what we understand now as core agile delivery, this was 2010, where I was in the position that I tried the first Scrum Master at this time at the automotive, and it was very interesting. But it's now over 12 years, and many things changed.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you want to tell us a little bit about like how it was and what changed exactly?
2 things perhaps. The first thing is the interest. 12 years ago, you was in a position that you talk to people, and it was difficult to transfer these ideas, this different way of thinking, to make them understand that it's a different way a different approach, a different new way of working. Yeah, and 10 years later or 12 years later now, it's the opposite. They are interested, so people already understood some parts of it and now want to grab that deep dive in it. Yeah? They want to know more about it, what it means concrete, not these blah blah level where you say, oh, we need to be all agile. No, what it means on concrete working level, on concrete leadership, decision making level, what this means. And the good thing is, the last years we have a lot of different experiences in different industries. So, and this put us in a position that on the one side, people are more interested and really eager to learn things. On the other side, we can add a lot of experiences over the last years now. And this is different to 12 years ago, where many of companies just started to be a little bit interested.
So it's from both sides, right? It's more like the customers, or in general the work environment, is going more towards new work and agile methods and frameworks, and then also your experience helped you to also position yourself in a very different way. That's very interesting. Thank you. Assuming I'm a newbie to the agile world, like I'm new, and like what would you recommend? How do I get an initial overview?
Just read the book and then it's good. No, it's just joking.
That was the obvious question, but answer.
No, it's not a sales pitch. So I think it would be a combination of reading some stuff, but then very fast after this starting with it. So do experience it, the different, and at the beginning it will be not completely agile or great, or it will be a little bit painful also. So first steps are always painful, especially in the agile environment. But start to try things and be patient. It will be not perfect, and then you can continue. And if you did the first 2-3 steps, communities help. So people who you could exchange with. For example, I'm part of the Agilizer network.
Yeah, I saw your sweater has the logo on it, right?
And I like this work in this community. Agilizer network is a community of people of different level of experiences, and they all profit from each other. They learn from each other. They develop tools, methods, and this is great. And if I were to recommend you something, just start with it. Try it for yourself, and then become very fast part of those network and learn a lot from others. That would be, I think, a good way.
I looked into the network, and they also are like people from very different backgrounds, right? So it's not just like one company and like everybody does the same, but it's more like a very also broad view on the agile way of working, because you have so many different clients. And
there are industries, for example, of banks inside, chemistry industry. You have freelancers, you have people who are working for big groups. I like this heterogeneous, because if you're just in your own bubble, in your agile bubble of coaches, for example, you learn something, but the real life is outside the bubble. So that's the reason why I love be active in those networks, giving and receiving, and this is key for developing yourself and get a little bit more experience.
Okay, and if I wanted to join this network, how could I do that? What would I need to do? Like, where can I find you? Is there something I can, somewhere I can find you, or do you do meetups, or do you do something?
You can contact one of the people of this network. So I think it's on LinkedIn. You can see it also. There's also, I think, a web page. I'm not sure, but Agilizer, we can write it down later in the show notes, but agilizer.de, I think. There's some information in it, and just contact them. And then you get invited, and it's not very hard to get in. So it's more not the knowledge you bring in or the experience. It's more your mindset. Are you interested in this stuff? And then you become to it, and you find your way. So there are people inside who, as me, working on method. For example, we worked out a method of Agilizer maturity indicator for teams, where we can check team maturity and improve our own coaching of teams. This, you can be part of these kind of developing of tools, but also you can just receive and just be part at information sessions. We have last November there was an information session about OKRs, objective and key results, and we organized this over Meetup, or the application Meetup, and it works also quite fine. It's German. There's a German group and an English group, so choose whatever you want, and then you can decide how active you want to be. And this could be also change. For example, you're in the moment really active, and you have some spare time to spend, fine. And later, perhaps not so much. It's okay. Yeah. And it's for free, so try it.
Yeah, so you don't need to be active all the time, and you can choose yourself how much you want to get involved and at what time. Let's come back to the book. I mean, I want to show it because it's it has a very interesting design. So this book caught my eye because of its elaborate design. And how did this concept come across? I can show you a little bit. Like, it's very, very pretty, I would say, even if this is maybe not like a word that you want to hear. But it's like, it's very nice illustrated. Yeah. So nicely illustrated. Oops, that's my note sign. How did this concept come about?
Yeah, for me it was important that not only writing down the approach of the living transformation, so what we experienced and did the last 4 or 5 years, was also the way how we presented. And credits to the designer here. So I worked with 2 great designers together, and they designed it in collaboration approach with me. So we was not only telling a designer do this, it was a discussion. And I think we found a good way to transfer the ideas also with pictures. Because main reason for this is not that you buy this book or that you read this book, it's that you test these kind of approaches in your environment. They're working in different industries, in different sizes of companies. And these books should be like a clicking moment, a flipping moment where you say, okay, I want to go this way, I want to involve my people, I want to change my processes of agile transformation and digital transformation. And this could be like a cooking recipe for you. Some things you will change, but the original recipe is working and you can try it. That's the main reason. And the design and the content is in balance, and so that it's also nice and fun to read over vacation time or in an airplane. Or
Sure. I mean, that's also how it sticks, right? There's some research about the point that if you see images and drawings and stuff like that, if you can connect it a lot better to the content and kind of memorize stuff better, or just learn in a better, more efficient way. I saw that Daniel Mezick wrote the foreword of this book. How do you know each other, and how did that come about?
Daniel Mezick, I like him very as a person, but also as an agile leader in this way. I met him some years ago in a training and later in workshops, and we did some stuff together. And the basic ideas of Daniel Mezick, so delegation, accountability, and responsibility, or this great idea of open space agility, OSA, these are Daniel's ideas, and they inspire me. And that was the reason why I asked him to also be part of this book, not only by writing this foreword, but also he checked the book and gave me feedback, and we challenged some ideas. And on this process of challenging and exchange with Daniel, he said, okay, I can write a foreword in your book, and I'm very happy because I like this guy, and he also inspired me a lot. And so it was...
Yeah, it's a great honor, isn't it? Yeah, that's great. So aside from the book, you're also a podcast host of the podcast Living Transformation, so it has the same name as the book. And what would you say to listeners, like why should they follow you? Why should they listen to your podcast?
Yeah, because it's a natural addition to the book. The book is all about the concept, describing in a very lean kind of way what we do in this transformation, what are the responsibilities, what are the processes. But the emotion is important. That I can be able to give you an insight into what happens in these implementation, what happens with the people involved, and this you can only transfer via people. And so that's the reason why I'm with Malte and Nico together. We set up this kind of podcast, and it's available, I think, on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. And in these podcasts, you just not hear the author, not me. You just hear people from real implementations, from people who are executing this kind of approach of the living transformation in different roles, for example, as a transformation owner, but also in different branches, in different industries. For example, we have telecommunication side, automotive, energy, and these are like real insights from practical background. And I think this is good addition to reading the book to get a good impression what the agile transformation is about.
Oh, that's great. So it's basically your clients and other people really like transforming their organizations, and they tell a little bit from their like day-to-day life and how they do that. Not
only clients. So the living transformation is not that you sell something and then you get licensing cost. No, it's not the way it works. It's not so much external involvement. So I would say most of the people are ex-clients. So we set up it together, we make it running, and it was a good start. But then it's their implementation, it's their transformation, it's your transformation. So that's the reason why I would say it's not my clients, it's my ex-clients, but happy ex-clients. So it's even better, And they asked me to be part in this podcast, and I interviewed them. And we are in the moment at, I don't know, session number 8 or 9, and several will come. And I think it's good to have these exchange and insights, and just take a look inside or take to hear inside. And if you like it, also leave a comment.
So it's basically, it helps you as well, right? To reflect on your approach and to see how it really works out in practice, and then also like to maybe elaborate it even more. So I don't know, is there a new book coming even, or is there like, do you still work on this topic, or is that already concluded?
In this book, Living Transformation, there are 2 approaches actually. There are the living strategy, which I designed with a team together. There was also Tim Spitzer, for example, involved. We designed this over 8 or 10 years ago and was executed at different clients. And now the living transformation, so making a strategy be implemented, so real, this is a second approach, and this is ongoing. The approach itself is quite stable over the last years, but this is due our first years because we used a lot of feedback rounds, different coaches. So this is not only my idea, so that's idea of the overall network and different clients. This is quite stable. And you asked me for a second book, or in this case, I think would be my 3rd or 4th book. Yes, and I also mentioned it, but not in the next 2 years. And it will be a different kind of book. It will be more showing you an insight in how an agile coach could work from different method point of view, from team coaching point of view. So we will introduce there our methods and tools which we developed also in this Agilizer network. For example, one chapter will be about an Agilizer maturity indicator for teams, which I mentioned before. And this will be a more practical book. So this is a cookie recipe, and if you want to have even more smaller one and more concrete one, which you can use in your team coaching, in your team developing, this is a plan for, I would say, in the next 2 years, but not soon.
Not soon. You're done with writing for now.
Yeah, it's not the writing. It's fun to write, but there's more than writing. Before and after, I was on the Management 3.0 conference as a speaker, and on other conferences also. So it's not about the book. It's more to make this approach well known, that people have the chance to understand it and also to try it. And that's my purpose, that that I can make this success. People are involved, are motivated, are engaged, and they have the environment, the system that it really can work. This I want to reach, or this is my purpose. And the book is just a part of this journey. In addition
it's like
to
a puzzle piece only.
A puzzle piece, yeah. In addition to podcasts, to speaker, when I'm at conferences, workshops, we design in the next, or this year, it's 2020 or 22 already, we will design a kind of small training of this approach and this kind of thing. So it's a puzzle piece.
Yeah. So you said it's mainly your ex-clients whom you interview in your podcast together with your co-hostess Malte and what was
Nico.
The other name? Nico.
Yeah.
And so it's mainly your ex-clients, and then what I heard is that you really enable them. Like at the beginning, you do a kind of kickoff and you enable them, but then there is not much involvement from your side, but they really kind of carry the transformation on by themselves. And first of all, that sounds like a very very good approach, very conscious. But also, is there like something like an end to a transformation or something? Because oftentimes in project management, you think about an end, right? You plan something,
and then it's successful,
and it has to be successful. You have to show that you have reached something, etc. Even in agile project management, we have reviews and stuff like that. So we want to show something. So first of all, is there an end to a transformation? And second of all, how do you show progress? So these two questions are on my mind.
So in my understanding, a transformation is there to change an organization, to be more fit to the market, to deliver in a better way, and that also people are more engaged in the organization. If we would accept this kind of aim of a transformation, we know that the market always changes, people always change. In consequence, there can be never an end of a transformation. This means not that we don't have any this means not that we have no progress monitoring or something like that. We check ourselves and ask ourselves, are we on the right track? No, this is embedded. Okay. This is embedded as you know, in our agile way of working, the living transformation, for example. We have every 3 months a kind of demo, transformation demo, where we show our results. And also, we in this demo, we link the results over, for example, objective and key results to the strategy. Because both need to be tracked. First, are we efficient in our way? Do we make progress? And second thing, are we doing the right thing? And both things are in this living and transformation approach embedded on different, with different ceremonies, with different processes. But it is important, because if you have so many people involved, and it should be efficient, transparency is the key. And transparency to management means also to show that the money, the time, the energy which is invested is well invested, and we make progress. This is the reason why we make this transformation. Not only to be happy, this could be one reason, but main reason is to change our organization in a way that we are future-proof.
Yeah, that sounds good. What are the most common challenges you face, and how do you deal with them?
In the transformation?
In the transformation approach, right?
Two things, I would say. The first thing is in the start. In the start, it's very hard to convince an organization, but especially also leader, to do it differently. Because the last transformation, they were successful. They were successful from their point of view, because too big on paper, but were not successful for people, for involved people in organizations. If you ask employees, well, something changed in your daily work, they say no. And then it's a definition of, in my point of view, not having transformation in success. And so this is the first challenge, to really start with this approach which is different. And at the beginning, it's different for decision makers to decide 100% to go this way, because they don't have experiences in this area. So it's a little bit of trust you need to get and involve over time also. And the second challenge is if you do it 1-2 iterations, you will find some dysfunctions. This is not working, for example, the capacity allocation is not working, prioritization is not working, and this has nothing to do with the approach itself. It's just because at the beginning you cannot do everything perfect, so the implementation also is not perfect. So it's important that we have feedback loops also inside it every 3 months to get also better in the way we do the transformation. And this is a second challenge that the organization do not lose at this point of time the trust in the new kind of organizational transformation, that they understand that failures are okay and they are something like learning opportunities if you do them one time, not three times the same thing, but it's one time failures are okay if you learn. And these are the two challenges from a time perspective beginning and also the first steps with it. But if you continue with it, if you succeed by learning and succeed by implementing also real change, it is like an automatic process. It's just, you start with small teams who just want to be part of it, and it's like communication, they communicate themselves, they are own ambassadors, people, own employees, and after 3-4 implementation, everybody want to be part of it.
So the people that first start to work with you on that are basically the change makers.
Are they the
spreaders, like they are,
The spreaders is, even if it's sometimes a bad thing, but in this case it's a good thing. It's an ambassador, because you don't need, in this case, you don't need communication or marketing anymore. Not anymore nice pictures, nice videos or something. You don't need it because you have your own people, your internal people involved. They making the change, they designing concepts, they implement these concepts, and so they are their own ambassadors. And this is after you have these 2 periods of time where we have this challenge by learning, they see the success. I have one client, for example, in the automotive industry. They changed their whole organizational structure with the living and transformation approach.
All right.
And after this, everybody said, wow, this didn't change the last years, and with a lot of external help we didn't succeed with it, but with our own resources, with our own people, make it happen. And if you have this click moment, there's so much trust in the system, so much motivation, that the next changes become very automatically.
But at first it takes trust and then dedication as well to continue, even if you don't see changes right away, or even if it's sometimes hard and some dysfunctions come up and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, and then it's about analyzing dysfunctions, understand.
And learning.
Yeah, and learning.
If you would like to learn more about the Living Transformation approach, you will find a lot more information, insights, and of course Mario's book on the website living-transformation.com. In addition, there is an exciting podcast on the topic with Mario as a host, in which he talks to people from the field. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and here on YouTube.